Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew, my other host, right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. I hope you all had an awesome Thanksgiving. We are coming off of what feels like the longest week of football of the entire year. Thursday Thanksgiving games, 3 of them, a Black Friday game. We had Sunday and Monday. It was just packed to the gills with football. We hope that you enjoyed it with your friends and family. We're talking a whole bunch of stuff. 49ers take on the Seahawks. They beat them. Eagles beat the Bills. Now they are facing each other. It's Eagles week in Philly. This is going to be an epic game, one that we've had circled for a long time. We're talking updates from the NFC South. We're talking who has the number one pick. What is the draft order looking like? College football as well. Championship week is this weekend. It's looking crazy. Before we get into all that, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe because we're doing this week in and week out. And be sure to drop some comments below. Just let us know your thoughts. We always appreciate it.
Yeah, it's Eagles week, and much like AJ Brown said to troll Debo this week, let's give a shout out to everyone who's trolling the corporations because Black Friday is a fucking scam now. Did you see all the posts of like these Target and Amazon, all these companies putting fake sales on Black Friday?
I'm not gonna lie, I bought a Roomba. I got
scammed. You got.
I'm sorry, but it's been a life-changing event. You know, the Roomba has changed my entire life.
DJ
I can breathe
Roomba?
better. My breathing is
What do you live in Interstellar?
I live with fucking 3 dogs that shed like crazy.
Well, I hope you guys did not buy anything on Black Friday because the fucking deals were not real. Everything was full price. They just fucking label sale on it.
I got it for 50% off. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy.
I'm not gonna lie. I bought some stuff on Amazon. I'm just mad. I'm really mad about it.
$23. I got it for $9.
I had to though, so I bought like I don't want to say the price. I bought a bunch of equipment for my first short film that I'm filming this next month.
Out.
So guys, look out for that. I'll be posting.
If you're an actor, hit him up
in the Bay. But let's talk football. We've been talking about all this other stuff for too long. We're in the nitty gritty of the season. Seahawks game. I thought it was going to be a pretty epic game, but here we are. Niners are looking to try to make more progress on the 1 seed. What stood out in this last game against the Seahawks?
The one guy that really stood out to me, and I even said it in our diamond pick last week, which we won, by the way. You know, be sure to subscribe.
We're rolling right now.
We're up like
3 in a row
right now, so it's lit. But the one guy I was really worried about from the Seahawks team, because Kenneth Walker was going to be out, I feel like they were going to really force feed the ball to DK Metcalf, and Charvarius Ward shut him down. He put a stellar performance on the field, and it was like, holy shit, this guy is the star corner that this team has really been needing over the last few years, and he put it on full display. I am excited for him to take on AJ Brown this upcoming week. It's going to be pretty awesome. I thought that he just had a chef's kiss, stellar performance. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, what stood out to me during the game was McCaffrey in full McCaffrey mode. He went against me in fantasy this week, so it was kind of a knife in the heart, but it's always good. It always makes up for the fantasy loss when the Niners get a win.
So. Oh no, he's going Thicko mode.
So yeah, Debo doing his thing. Ayuk looking great. I mean, is this guy going to be a Pro Bowler this year?
I think so. I think he has he's a part of like top 3 franchises in the league, like just fan base wise. When you think about like some of the great fan bases, it's 49ers, Cowboys, Steelers, like. So there's a big push if you start to think about it. Like if everyone really bands together, Brandon Ayuk has had a year, dude. He's looked awesome.
And then something I kind of been thinking about, have you noticed lately a lot of these quarterback power rankings, these quarterback top tier lists? Brock Purdy's been in top 10 in a lot of these analyst lists now. Is it hard to deny that he's really good at this point.
I mean, yeah, what are you going to say? Like, what are you going to knock? Like, he hasn't had a come from behind win. He hasn't. So that's one knock that you can really say. Like, hey, he hasn't really proved himself. He's a front runner, whatever. Okay, cool. We can go ahead and say that. But you can only be a front runner for so long. Like, it's one of those things. Like, he's good. He's legitimately good. That throw that he made, the touchdown to Ayuk, Kyle Shanahan actually said afterwards, like, that's a designed check down. Like, I was pissed when he threw that ball, but he made it work. And that's like the beauty of Brock Purdy is he does have this balance of humility. He knows himself. He knows what he can do. And the cockiness to actually make that throw, to be like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to just throw this on a line and actually make this. So he has that perfect balance where you want almost a gunslinger, but you want a guy who knows his own capabilities. And I think Brock Purdy has that in spades right now.
1 sec. I think my mic came out.
I can still hear you.
There we go. Had to switch back to the regular mic. But yeah, I definitely think Brock Purdy, the one thing where people want to argue about him is, oh, system guy. He's just doing whatever. Kyle Shanahan's making him look good. If you watch the games, he does stuff outside of the system. He keeps plays going, and he makes splash plays that Kyle is not planning for. And that no other quarterback for the 49ers under Kyle has made plays like this. He makes highlight reel plays, and that's on him.
Yeah, I mean, when he does the point to the corner of the end zone, unlike with Jimmy, when Jimmy would do that shit, when he would point and then he'd throw it off camera, half the time you're like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. What is he going to do? Which defender's going to get this? When Brock does it, you're like, this is about to be a highlight play.
Yeah, and I think another point to putting him in the top 10 already is feels like kind of a down quarterback year. Like, and not that I'm saying Tom Brady was right. We're saying, what did he say? It's bad
It's a
football.
mediocre league.
Yeah, I mean, there's crazy talent at wide receiver and defenses are pretty good this year. But yeah, I would say it's a down quarterback year. So who, if not Brock, then who is in the top 10?
Speaking of MVP race, so I put $100 on Christian McCaffrey. If the 49ers win, I wouldn't be opposed to Christian McCaffrey winning the MVP. But did you see the snapshot of Emmanuel Ocho's MVP race? It was like I think it was someone. It was like Jalen Hurts, someone else, and then in third place was Trent Williams. And I'm like, I see the vision.
He's real as fuck for that. Yeah,
you're like, yeah, fuck it. Like, you pick the best player on the best team. Yeah, fuck it. Who cares?
I mean, it's such a weird award because it's not MVP. It's not most valuable player. It's best quarterback award.
I mean, I think this is a year where, if you like think about it, no one has really separated themselves. Jalen Hurts was the odds favorite last week. I don't know if he still is this week.
I think so this week with the way he ran the ball.
If, like, let's say a Christian McCaffrey does just have like lights out games, especially against the Eagles coming up this week, against the Ravens coming up on Christmas, like those are two marquee games. And if he shows out and runs for like 200 yards in one game and 130 in another, who's not to say, like, damn, he's back on the mat. He's leading the league in rushing yards by a country mile. And he's having an historic season. So, I mean, he could, if he puts up these big games in big moments, that's what's going to matter on the resume rather than Jalen Hurts. Like, I mean, we'll talk about Jalen Hurts after, but I think that he has a good play. And Brock Purdy also throws his hat in the ring, being the quarterback of the best team or what could end up being at the end of this, the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, right now I think it's a two-man race between Lamar and Jalen Hurts, but I do think you should be throwing in like a Tyreek Hill, McCaffrey, Myles Garrett even.
Mm-hmm.
Like if this were just an all-out even award and we're not putting so much weight on, well, your position's quarterback, so obviously we're going to boost you ahead of the rest of these guys. McCaffrey does have a case for an MVP level season. Myles Garrett, I think, has a
Or
case for
even
MVP.
if we're talking about like historic seasons, Deron Bland.
Yeah.
Deron Bland now has the single season record for most pick sixes. That's awesome. That's not something that you just see like willy nilly. This is a game that is getting harder and harder for the defensive players, and this guy is making his name for himself week in and week out.
Well, it's scripted. Do you see he dropped one pick. The very next play, the script writers gave him the same exact play, pick six. So, I mean, I've been seeing the script working out perfect for Deron Bland's story. Because, oh yeah, what does the NFL want? Deron Bland to be the
Deron
face of the
Bland.
league. That's what before the season, the script writers like, oh fucking Deron Bland, give him 1 million touchdowns.
I think if we're gonna be real, like I don't think Eric Bieniemy is gonna get the head coaching job. His offense has sucked this year. It's just been Sam Howell dropping back and getting either destroyed or getting picked. Like he's not a good offensive coordinator. I don't think he's getting that head coaching job, but that's a conversation for another day.
I don't know why you brought up Bieniemy there.
Because that's who they're going against. Fucking the Commanders and Sam Howell. And he throws back to back. Like, hey,
I'm not gonna lie. I totally forgot Bieniemy existed for a second. And I was like, where does this guy coach? Yeah. That's how hard Bieniemy's fell off. Imagine Bieniemy went to the Texans before this. No, instead of this job, if he was coaching the Texans right now, CJ Stroud. Well,
who knows? I mean, he would have got killed.
I mean, we got kind of off base with this 49ers Seahawks game, but
Chase Young. Like,
what else are you gonna say?
So, like, I think we can give a game ball to John Lynch, not for just this week specifically, but for actually putting your nuts on the table, making a big splash play when no one was really kind of expecting it, and getting Chase Young. Chase Young, maybe just the addition of Chase Young or the week to regroup. It has really changed the face of this defense. They are getting more pressure. You are feeling the dominance again. The linebackers feel faster. The back end doesn't feel as much pressure. So Charvarius Ward can have games like this. The safeties have been banged up and you haven't even really noticed. So kudos to John Lynch for going out and making that trade when we needed it the most.
Yeah, and nothing against Ufunga. I think Ufunga is amazing. He's all pro. But honestly, we might have got a little bit better with Jair. This is controversial, but we might have got better with Jair Brown now in the lineup. Like,
I wouldn't say that. Like,
this guy's been marinating on the sideline all season, and we were so hyped in the preseason about this guy, and he's a ball hawk. And it's not because he's better than Ufunga, but it's that his style as a ball hawk is better stylistically for this team.
Yeah, and I mean, they're both guys that have pretty similar comps. They're both guys that fell in the draft because they weren't as fast. Might have to move to linebacker, might not. And so I can see where kind of that fits in. But the safeties are pretty banged up. George Odom, I think, is now going to be out for the foreseeable future. Talanoa Hufanga, obviously gone for the season. Is Tashawn Gibson still hurt?
I believe he's banged up. I'm not sure if he's going to be out or not. But
so, I mean, this core is getting there. It's getting to the
But shout out to John Lynch for not kind of just sitting around. We're working out DBs every week, seeing who could join the team, who could work in the practice squad. I know we brought in Verrett. Robert Beal, one of our edge guys, he got activated this week. So I think one of our draft picks came off the pup list. Derek Luter came off. Okay. So like moves in the background are being made to keep improving this team and put out the best lineup possible. So I'm not too worried about it. I think John Lynch got us covered.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about it. And you're headed into this Philadelphia Eagles game, one that you've had circled since the beginning of the season. Feeling really good about yourself. You've got the losing streak out of the way that's in the rearview mirror. You've dominated a couple teams, and now you feel like, okay, we're back to our old selves. We feel it. And you're catching an Eagles team that's in the middle of a gauntlet. I mean, they're coming off this tough Buffalo Bills game, and I think it's going to be raining again in Philadelphia. I think it's going to be another pretty tough environment. And how many games can you do if you are the Eagles that are exactly like this, where You look like shit for the first half, and then you somehow pull it out and end up winning the game.
Well, let's move on and talk about the Eagles game a little bit. They beat the Bills in overtime. I am going to be listening to the Eagles lineman Christmas album this holiday season, but I hope that's the only good thing about them this holiday season. Have you heard the Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce song yet?
No, I haven't.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I was what I was thinking is, dude, get Taylor Swift in the studio.
Fuck.
Imagine the Kelce brothers are a number one hit on the Billboard with Taylor Swift.
Man, I mean, she has the star power to do it. So.
If they do a song together, it's gonna be number one.
Oh yeah, hands down.
But as far as the game, how are we feeling about this Eagles team?
Some people are saying that this is the worst 10-1 team in league history. Some people, not me. I mean, I'm not. I think they're actually pretty good. But this is just consistently the Eagles just make big plays down the stretch when it doesn't seem like that they should. And I mean, I felt it this game again against the Bills where fucking Jalen Hurts had 33 yards passing in the first half. 33 yards. He looked like shit, but he's just one of those dudes that just makes plays. I think at one point they had shown he had thrown 4 passes and 3 of them were touchdowns down the stretch of the second half. So, I mean, he just makes plays. But I can very much see this being a game where, because they've just been running through the gauntlet, they still have a couple of tough games ahead of them where they just drop it, where they're just like, hey, you know what? We've just been getting beat up week in, week out. What are you going to do? Because you had a tough game against the Chiefs. You have this against the Bills. Now you're going to have the 49ers coming in. Again, a game that's set up perfectly for, we're just going to smash you in the mouth. How many times are you going to answer the bell? You know what I mean? So that's kind of my thing with this Eagles team. How many times are you going to answer the bell? And we've seen consistently that they have answered the bell. So, but I mean, it only takes one. It only takes one.
Yeah, I think it's like what side of the coin you're going to fall on with this team, because when you have like every game is beat them up, drag them out, who's going to be standing at the end, it's going to come down to one score type games, and you're winning all of those. It's like, when is your luck going to run out? Because part of it is luck in the NFL when it comes down to it. Like, injuries happen, a penalty could go the wrong way, and it just a fumble, something, and it just flips the entire game. And when you're in all these like one score games, that can just immediately deflate you. And I think Jalen he's been banged up this year, but as much as Brock Purdy gets the praise of like, oh, nothing phases him, nothing phases Jalen Hurts. Like,
yeah,
he's going to keep slinging it. He's going to run it, and he's going to keep scoring. He can throw it deep. He can run. He can throw it short. Like, this guy is MVP level. And that's scary for our defense. And their weapons are amazing. Deep, maybe the best wide receiving core in the league, possibly. Their run game is great. So they have all the pieces, but for some reason they're just not fully clicking, I think, this year, which is saying a lot because they only have one loss.
8 of their 10 wins have been one score games.
Yeah,
so
which is
not
insane.
So it's not like you're blowing teams out. You're finding ways to win. And like Cam Hayward just went on a fucking rant about this like 2 weeks ago because Steelers fans were pissing him off, but they deserved it. But he was just like, hey, like, we're in the NFL. This isn't fucking college. We don't get ranked based off of how pretty it looks. We get based off of wins and losses. And if we keep winning, just shut the fuck up. And that's basically what the Eagles are doing. Like, hey, they did not look like the better team against the Bills for 3 quarters. They didn't look like the better team against the Chiefs for like 3 quarters. So it kind of is what it is, but you win those games and you just move forward.
Yeah, but at the same time, people are concerned because it's all been one score games, and at the end of the day, like your luck is gonna run out eventually if you're not gonna like pull it together and put together some easy wins. And
Yeah.
doesn't look like they got any easy wins coming up pretty soon here with the Niners. And then Dallas usually plays them pretty tough. So it's just concerning. Like, are they gonna run out of steam here? When it feels like every week for eight of these games, it feels like playoff football because it's one score games.
Yeah, and I mean, I know they've been banged up in the defensive secondary. I mean, this is a exploitable Eagles offense. We've seen Josh Allen just went bananas against them. Where it comes down to is the offensive coordinator with Brian Johnson for the Eagles. He's awesome. I mean, is he going to get plucked again? Because this is going to, I think I seen Schefter was saying like if it's the over under on 6 coaches being fired this year in the NFL, he's taking the over. He's think it's going to be more of like 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to lose back-to-back offensive coordinators? What is that going to do for this Eagles offense? Is Nick Sirianni finally going to step up and do something like and be the offensive coordinator this time around? I mean, he did get like play calling duties stripped at one point. So I don't know, man. I just think they do have nasty weapons. Jalen, obviously, not only is he just a great quarterback, but he's also just a great playmaker in itself. And we've seen that on the game-winning touchdown. He just has the ability to just go out there and get a chunk of 20 yards on a dime. Just no reason for it. Just like, fuck it, I'm going to go out and do it. DeAndre Swift. What the fuck? What are the Lions doing where they're giving them DeAndre Swift for like a late round pick?
And Duke couldn't find the end zone in Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, they hated him. They hate him in Detroit. So
I think it's just it's a thing of where I mean I really can't say anything bad about this Eagles team. They're a fucking great team. I love Jalen Hurts, loved him since college.
He just has a grinded out mentality. He's one of the dudes that you fucking hate him because he's not on your team. Because he's the opposing quarterback. But honestly, love that guy.
So it's hard, like we don't have any bad blood for the Eagles, even though like last season ended pretty chippy. Obviously the players have bad blood.
Man, I think the players have more like disrespect on both sides. Like they feel some type of way. Deebo Samuels was calling James Bradbury trash. He was like, we would have burned them. If we would have had Brock, we would have burned them. We would have dropped like 40
that's like the mindset this week with this 49ers team is we would have been in the Super Bowl if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt. And I mean, who knows what happened, but this game is a statement game for the 49ers for sure, more so than the Eagles. I mean, Eagles I think would love to win and like just own it in the 49ers face, but 49ers should come out fucking way more motivated than this Eagles team.
I don't know, because if you're this Eagles team, you listen to the 49ers talk shit the entire offseason. Like, you got a ton of bulletin board material to be like, hey, you know what? They don't fucking respect. We beat them fair and square. Like, say what you want. Yeah, Brock Purdy got hurt, but Brock Purdy got hurt because if I'm Hassan Reddick, because I fucking hit him. Because I beat my guy. I beat whatever bullshit coverage that Shanahan had on this 7-step drop, and I destroyed his arm. So, like, that's one for me, bro.
This like, game is gonna, like, if injuries happen after this game might be the more telling game, even if they meet in playoffs, because both teams are basically at full health. Basically.
And that's the one thing, like, I could see very much happening is all right, I know this is, let's say this does happen, right? 49ers go into Philly and blow them out. The Philadelphia Eagles could just be like, hey, you know what? You caught us at a really bad time. We're coming off of 2 really tough fought losses or tough fought wins. We had one against the Chiefs, which was a rematch against the Super Bowl. Then we go and we beat the Bills in a just torrential downpour in an overtime game. So, you know what? Fuck it. And we're the number 1 seed. We're up by 2 games. This game really doesn't matter to us. We're going to beat, we got to gear up for the Cowboys next week. I could see the players having that mentality if it is a blowout win. Hey, you know what? You beat us, but it doesn't really fucking matter because we still have the 1 seed and we're going to smash the rest of our schedule.
Yeah, I'm just hoping this is a preview to the NFC championship game, and both teams are fully healthy in the playoffs, and we get to see this like fucking amazing matchup 2 times this year. So,
yeah, I think it's going to be a barn burner of a game. But again, could the 49ers blow them out? I think so. I mean,
we'll talk about it during our Diamond Pick of the Week this Saturday. Make sure you subscribe and follow for that, and let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen in this 49ers Eagles game. I just kind of wanted to get to the. I don't know. You want to look that up while I head to the next topic?
Yeah. So the line for this game, let me see here. The Eagles are home dogs.
Wow. Well, the 49ers are rolling.
Yeah, Eagles are home dogs. 49ers -2.5.
That's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Bro, that's crazy. At the link.
All right. Well, I kind of wanted to talk about actually, let's just get straight into some college ball.
Yeah, let's do it.
Playoffs happening pretty soon here. Did you want to talk about Colorado for 1 second? Because there is some discourse about this team.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it.
Colorado, what do they have? 4 wins this year. Last year they had 1. A lot of people, trying to rub it in Deion's face a little bit, Coach Prime, that it's a failure of a season. And this team was hyped up by some podcasts. Maybe I don't know about this one, but this
is still the official Buffaloes podcast, baby. We'll be back next year with a vengeance.
I thought we were looking for a new team.
Let's see. Who's your new team this year?
Washington?
We're Texas with Arch Manning.
Well, anyways, a lot of people hyped up this Colorado team. They didn't exactly set the world on fire. How are we judging this season?
I mean, it's got to be a dub. Like, at the end of the day, you improved your winning percentage. You got national notoriety. At one point, you were ranked. So, I mean, it's got to be a win if you're Colorado. If you're a student that fucking went to Colorado and then Coach Prime shows, if you're a fucking junior and Coach Prime shows up, you had 2 years where it was, hey, we're regular ass Colorado. And then Lil Wayne is performing at your pregame. Like, dude, that's pretty legit. And I think after the first loss, Coach Prime even said, like, go ahead and beat up on us now. Go ahead and talk shit now, because this is the worst that we're going to be. And I don't think he meant that, this week specifically is going to be the worst. This season was going to be the worst season that they were going to have. He's seen they didn't have an offensive line. They needed more playmakers at wide receiver. They needed bigger and better linebackers and defensive linemen. And that's all going to be coming. You don't think that kids are going to look at this and be like, damn, this Colorado team had this type of notoriety. Imagine if I went there. Imagine if we got a legit team. They were dominating at Jackson State. You know what I mean? So imagine what we can do at Colorado. I think that transfer portal is going to be fucking hot. And you know that he is going to be recruiting. So it is one of those things. Like, I think it sets a good baseline. You move forward and you figure it out from there. I can see them being in the national buzz consistently just based off who their coach is.
Yeah, and the thing that worries me, though, is like next year, is Shador a junior right now? He's a senior?
Yeah. So he's coming back.
Yeah, he's definitely going to come back, because I think right now, at the beginning of this season, when they first started winning, I think the rumbling was like, oh, this guy could be like a late first, mid first round pick, him and Travis Hunter. And now I think it's like third, fourth round. That's where I kind of would project him. So I definitely would want him to come back and keep working at it. I think he has something there. But after that, after next season, what's keeping Prime there? Like, if he wins 7 games next year and someone else calls him bigger than Colorado, I think he'd go. And we saw, like, he was all rah, ride or die for Jackson State. And Colorado called and he was out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not, not wrong of him, but like you made a lot of promises there. You're like ride or die for this team, and now you're gone so fast. So I definitely think a bigger program. I mean, what if Florida State called him? Like they're fucking huge right now.
I don't think he would go to Florida State. He had told them already before, and they were like, "There's no way you're getting you're going from not coaching to head coach of this program. We're not doing that." So I think he might feel a little bit some type of way about it.
Yeah, but just like one of these top
that's
bigger
with
schools.
any coach. Look at Oregon State. Oregon State, Jonathan Smith was like, "I'm not going anywhere." Michigan State writes the check, and he's gone. So you can say that about literally any coach at any program that's not an SEC school. And even then, in the SEC, let's say Georgia is like, you know what, I'm good. We're going to retire. And that coaching position opens up. Hey, you know what? Lane, you want to come over here? Lane's going to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see if he keeps trying to build something special in Colorado, if he's just like, let's go to one of these bigger programs and let's see what we can do there. Because once his kids are gone, like what's really keeping him there?
That's true. But I mean, again, when were you ever going to have this type of buzz, this type of notoriety at Colorado?
Yeah, and they just couldn't keep up in a really competitive Pac-12 this year, of one of the best conferences this season, which is amazing. And I wish they weren't now. I wish they weren't,
RIP Pac-12, baby.
So the rumblings with the Pac-12 now. I'll just cover this really quickly.
Yeah,
because
just give the spark notes for
10 teams are leaving the Pac-12. Everyone believed the Pac-12 is dead. It's not going to be a thing anymore. They are planning to do another season of Pac-12 football, but it's going to be the Pac-2. It's going to be Oregon State, Washington State. As you said, Oregon State's head coach is leaving, so like who knows how good they're going to be. But Washington State, these two teams that are still left in the Pac-12 basically said, the other 10 teams, because you left, you voided out your shit, we now have full control of the conference, and they basically want to keep all the revenue for this year for themselves. And Washington Supreme Court agreed that they have full power. The other 10 teams left and voided their votes to kind of control the conference. Crazy stuff happening in this Pac-2, where Washington State, I think, could set themselves up for a year where they get a ton of money and then pick and choose a great conference to go jump into and maybe get some good recruits. They would be playing the Mountain West next year and do a 2-team conference of just those two schools.
I mean, it's pretty crazy if you think about it. And if they do get full, purchasing power and they get all that, imagine the chunk of change that you could drop on just a big name coach. Hey, come here, have 1 year just to build the program, and then the next year we will move to X conference. We will figure it out. And I think that's a solid move for Washington State and Oregon State too. I mean, I know Jonathan Smith just left. Great coach. You can find another one. There's coaches abundant. Like, no coach is safe. Think about offensive coordinators. Pluck, offensive coordinators from the SEC. Figure it out, dude.
Because the whole thing with the Pac-12 is, why does it disbanding right now? Revenue. They were arguing about the revenue. They couldn't come up with the TV deal, and other people wanted bigger pieces of the pie. If you guys want to read this King5.com article about the whole Pac-12 Supreme Court ruling, it's really good. Something they put in here, the 10 departing schools are concerned giving them full control of the conference would withhold hundreds of millions in revenue the conference will generate this school year. So imagine these schools that fought for all the revenue, and that's why they've split up, now lost their revenue for this year because Washington State and Oregon State decided, we're not going anywhere else. We're going to ride with Pac-12 another year. Pac-2.
Especially if you're Washington, if you're Oregon, who are the big names in the conference, who are fighting for college football playoff spots, you got to be pissed. You're like, yo, I'm making a good majority of this revenue for us. I'm putting us on the map. And you're going to do me like that? Fuck you.
Yeah, so the decision's appealed. We got to wait and see what happens. But, I mean, they already gave it. I mean, they're trying to overturn this. And I don't know how well they're going to do, because it'd be amazing to see Oregon State and Washington State just ride out with the Pac-12. And, I mean, I'm mad at them.
Yep.
Let's talk about the college football playoff.
Yeah. So rankings right now, Georgia, number 1. Michigan, number 1. Washington, or undefeated. Washington, undefeated. Florida State, undefeated. That's your top 4 as of right now. But Georgia is going to be playing Alabama this week in the championship. Washington is going to be playing Oregon in this championship. And Florida State is going to be playing Louisville. Florida State, of course, Travis Jordan out for the rest of the season with a broken leg. Hope he recovers. And he is already committed to going into the NFL draft, I believe. He'd said that. So things are looking pretty crazy on that front. If Georgia ends up losing to Alabama, that's the one that could shape the entire playoffs, because then you're looking at a 1-loss Georgia team, a 1-loss Alabama team, and a 1-loss Texas team that also beat Alabama. And so what do you do then? It's pretty insane. Michigan looks like they're solidified. They are going to, unless they lose their championship game against Iowa, which Iowa doesn't have an offense whatsoever. Did you see that Iowa had a clause in the offensive coordinator's contract that they had to score over a certain amount of points on average per game, and they didn't hit that?
Yeah.
So imagine you getting fired from a number 18 team in the league because you just didn't win by enough points. But yeah, I mean, I think they're going to beat Iowa, so I think they're solidified in this. And taking a look at it, like Oregon and Washington is going to be a huge game. If Oregon does knock off Washington, how could you put Washington in the college football playoffs when you just seen they got beat by Oregon? So pretty crazy. I mean, for you, who do you think is going to be the 4 teams in the college football playoff?
I mean, I'm just looking over again really quickly. It's wild right now because the Georgia and Bama game is going to be huge. And then if Washington just wins out, you can't leave an undefeated outside looking in. And same thing with Florida State. Even though Florida State's resume might not be as strong as the other teams,
but they're undefeated. It's an
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't leave it undefeated.
What does kind of hinder me is the fact that they're going in. If they do beat Louisville with their backup quarterback, do you just take them off of the college football playoff because, hey, you have a backup quarterback? And if you do that, you're basically admitting the season doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can just put a spreadsheet up and like, who's the healthiest team? Let's go ahead and pick them.
Yeah, especially if Bama gets in. When, I mean, Bama hasn't been as dominant as they usually are, but they still have 11 wins. And if they beat Georgia, yeah, send them up. Like, of course they're gonna make it if they beat Georgia. And then the whole thing, like Harbaugh, is he gonna be allowed to coach the playoffs? And is that gonna affect how well they do in the playoff?
Yeah, man. I mean, and then you look at Texas. If Bama does beat Georgia and Texas is the only team that beat Bama, I mean, if Washington loses, if Florida State loses, that's an easy in for Texas on their resume. That's a feather in their cap, beating Bama.
But here's the thing, though. NCAA is chomping at the bit for one of those teams to lose, to put Ohio State right back in there. You don't think they want Ohio State over Texas?
Well, I think, one, because Texas beat Bama and Ohio State is lost to Michigan. They're not going to be in the championship game. You can't just go, hey, you just lost to Michigan. Let's put you in off of a loss. You know what I mean? I think that Ohio State's done. Like, you can't put them in off of a loss.
I mean, if Florida State loses, I think it's a consideration. And they're still ranked above Texas. So if that happens, then you are looking at like, all right, regular season doesn't fucking matter because they're going to try their hardest to get Ohio State. They're going to try to get Alabama in there. I would love, dream scenario right here is like Florida State to lose, Oregon to get in, and then we have 2 Pac-12 teams in the top 4.
How, though? How would you have 2 because Oregon has to beat Washington.
Oh, yeah, true. So
that would knock Washington off. Again, you can't go into the college football playoffs off of a loss.
Yeah, so it's Washington or Oregon. And even if Oregon wins, I feel like they could shift this around and really screw them over and leave them on the outside looking in.
The only team that I think can lose and still get into the college football playoffs is Georgia. The back-to-back champs or the chance to three-peat, you have to put them in. It's such a sticky scenario. That would be nightmare for this committee if Alabama beats Georgia this week. It's going to be a shit show. There's going to be so much discourse throughout. I just don't know how you'd play it then because, again, Georgia back-to-back national champs with a chance to three-peat. You've got to put them in because they only have one loss, but you just lost to Bama. And then, yeah, I just don't know how you're going to play it, dude.
Okay, I know people shit on kind of the idea for this 12-team playoff that's coming. Would this be a year that it kind of looks like, man, I would love to see a lot more teams in this playoff?
I mean, I could go without 12 teams. I mean, I could go with 8. If we went to 8.
So if we went to 12, all these teams would make it, and then we got Missouri, Penn State, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. That's not terrible.
I'm good.
Like, do you think Oklahoma on a good day could knock out Georgia?
No.
Ole Miss, Michigan, Penn State, I think they put a fight against Washington.
I'd rather not. I would just, let's bounce it to 8. Let's just do the 8. You know what I mean?
We'll see, we'll have to see next year how it plays out.
But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a crazy week in college football. I mean, as it is every single year. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to get the 4 spots in the college football playoff. Let us know.
Go Colorado. That's all we have for today other than our Deep Dig Disco. Disco, short for Discovery, a segment we do every week. Could be something we discovered that week. Show, a movie, book, if you read, literally anything.
Fucking nerd. Yes. Obviously, we are sports guys through and through, but I am newly married now, so I can't do this shit 24/7. I have to watch other things. So, my disco. I know you've been telling me to watch this show since it came out, and I've just refused. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't believe the hype. Started watching The Bear. We finished the first season in one sitting. It was awesome. Genuinely, I loved it. Such a good show.
Good show, chef. It's a good show, chef.
Get the fuck off my line. Get the fuck off my line. It was so fucking good. I knew eventually someone was going to shit on the guy who was making donuts, who just happens to be Lionel from Odd Future. And there was twists and turns. I really liked it. I heard season 2 is really good. We're probably going to be checking that out this weekend. Highly recommend. It's on Hulu, of course, which Hulu, I heard rumblings that Hulu is going to get bought by Disney, which is going to be crazy. And people were saying that they should put the cast of Always Sunny in Philadelphia in Kingdom Hearts. What a DLC. But yeah, it's really good. If for those who haven't checked it out, it is a show on Hulu. It is about a guy named Carmen who is taking over his brother's restaurant after his brother commits suicide with no note, no nothing. So he kind of left in this ambiguity, doesn't really know what he's walking into in the restaurant trying to fix a shit show. But it means that much to him because not only was it his brother's, it was his parents. So it just has a lot of sentimental value. And he's one of the top chefs in the world. So it's him trying to make all of these changes and the restaurant and life itself just kind of pushing back on him. Great story, great acting. 100% would recommend.
Great directing.
Oh, yeah.
I love that show. I can't remember if season 1, but definitely season 2, there is episode where they have like a continuous shot throughout the whole episode. It's fucking amazing directing. The sound engineering is amazing. Sorry, film nerd. But yeah, definitely if you're into film or you're into creating film, it's a fucking amazing show to watch. And writing wise, it's great. I like that you brought up Lionel because I like to note that everyone from the Loiter Squad cast, the Tyler the Creator, their show, they're doing great things because Lionel is in The Bear, which is one of the best shows. Taco from there is in Dave, one of the other another highly regarded show, and then Jasper's part of Jackass.
Yeah.
So everyone in that crew went on to do great things. Then obviously Tyler the Creator, he makes some music or whatever. But yeah, I love The Bear. I'm sure everyone's seen it other than you. So
I'm sure there's people that are lingering, and if you are, don't.
And okay, well, I'm gonna talk about a show that similar to you, everyone's probably seen already, but I barely got around to it. Ted Lasso, and I really hadn't seen it because it's on fucking Apple TV. And I just broke it was $10 for a month. I got it. Started watching Ted Lasso. I really got it to watch the new Godzilla show, which I haven't.
Oh, how was that?
I haven't seen it yet, but because I binge watched Ted Lasso in like 1 week, I watched all 3 seasons. It's a great show. It's about, you probably know this, but this American college football coach gets hired by a football club in in Europe and in England. I believe it's England, whatever. London. He goes over there to coach them, and he doesn't know anything about soccer, and he starts to coach them up by making them a stronger team, making them better people. And it's just a real feel good, positive show. I feel like there's so many times where I was watching and I was like, I don't know about this show, and then like halfway through episode I'm like crying because it's like there's some like real shit happening, or just like, man, they do a real good way of like sneaking up the connection on you with the other characters. So really great show. Watch it. It's obviously talked about a lot, one of the better shows, much like The Bear. So let us know in the comments what you're watching this week, or are you just watching film, you grinding the tape trying to watch this 49ers Eagles game.
Yep, keep us posted and be sure to like, subscribe, and drop some comments. Later.